Welcome at another tutorial video. This time we will show you various tricks for creating cells and links and for changing and copying colors and styles. Our goal while creating OrgPad is to be maximally flexible, so there are different ways for creating cells and links. So when you are working in OrgPad, you can always choose the way which is most convenient at the moment. You should focus on your problem or ideas and not think about OrgPad. So we will present a lot of different ways how things can be done, and it is up to you to choose which one you prefer and which one will become your favorite. First, we will explain in details how the button for creating connections works. Also, we will show you some basic tricks for creating connections, like that you can drag from one cell to another while holding Ctrl or Command on Mac and the link will be created. Then we will show you how you can create a chain of cells or how you can create multiple connections from one cell. We will also discuss how to copy styles between cells and how to do quick recolorings. We will conclude this video by showing you how you can edit links, how you can change their colors, and we will discuss labels for links. Let's start with basics, and for that we will return to our document about a trip to Japan. Right now we are in the view mode, so we can't do any changes, but we can easily switch to edit mode either by clicking the pencil button in the corner or pressing F7. So when we are in the edit mode, we can create a new cell by double-clicking anywhere in the gray canvas. For example, like this. So I have a new cell here. If I want to connect this cell, I can point at this connection button and drag it either to empty space, or I can drag it to an existing cell, like say Einstein's letter to President Roosevelt. And as you can see, when I am dragging it towards another cell, say Einstein's letter or sightseeing in Japan, I don't even have to point directly at it. I can also be really close and it snaps automatically. So there is a small tolerance around it. Yeah, and also the visual snapping animation is easily visible, so you should tell immediately whether you're snapping or not. But it can still happen that you will create an empty cell by accident. So let's say we wanted to connect it here, but instead we create a new empty cell. This mistake can be easily fixed. You can just drag it towards Einstein letter and the empty cell will merge into it. Your mistake is fixed. And also this works in the opposite way. For example, if I take sightseeing in Japan and I drag it towards this empty cell, they will merge and now they're connected like this. Now the button for creating connections works in two ways, so it's super convenient. First of all, we can drag it as we have seen before. So I'm dragging it right now. I'm still holding the mouse button. Now I will leave it and the cell is created. But I can also click on it once. Now I will point where I want to create the connected cell. I will click again and the cell is created for me. So both of these modes of control work for it. Also, when I am creating a connection and I point at the edge of the screen is scrolling for me automatically. So I can easily create a connection to some node which is far and it is currently placed outside the screen. Also, when I am creating the connection, I can use the mouse wheel to zoom out and then say zoom in somewhere else and create the connection like this. So let's clean up this mess a little bit here and let's return back to this. Yeah, by the way, if you have some connection between two cells, you can still create another one. Like in this case, I will create another connection from Einstein's ladder to Atomic Bomb Museum, and it will create two parallel connections. And they are currently overlapping, which we will probably fix in the future, but I can just drag one of them out, and now I have two parallel connections going in between like this. Yeah, so they work like this really nicely. Now, when I want to create connections really quickly, it is a little bit inconvenient that I have to point at a cell. Then I have to wait for this panel on top to appear. Then I have to point at this button, this connection button. Then I have to drag it to the target. So it's a lot of actions I have to do, and I have to be really precise. And if I click on something else, I have to redo it, and so it's a little bit inconvenient. Therefore, it is possible to do it in a different way. I can hold Ctrl or Command on Mac, then point anywhere on the cell I want to connect. Now I will hold the left mouse button and drag it towards either new place in the canvas or towards the target cell. And I can create connection like this. And I can continue, hold Ctrl, and again, another hold Ctrl, and so on. So I can create new connections really quickly in this way. And this is super convenient, and personally I am using this shortcut all the time while working in OrgPad. Also, when I am creating new connections, the default global style is used. So currently it is set to blue, but if I switch it to, say, pink, now I am creating pink connections and pink cells, like this. But sometimes I want to copy the color of an existing cell. Let's say I have this orange cell here, and I want to create a new orange connection, and I want to connect it in orange color. What I can do is that I can drag this style button instead. So instead of clicking on it, I will drag it. And now say I can connect it to sightseeing in Japan, or maybe I can drag it to a new place and create a new orange cell for it. So this is also something I'm using all the time when I don't want to change the default style. I just want to create a new cell of the same color. So now suppose that I want to create a lot of cells and connections at the same time. There are two convenient shortcuts available, and we call them snakes and stars. So first of all, suppose that I want to create some chain of connections, similar to what I have here. So what I can do is I can point at the connection button. Now I can drag it or click on it, but I'm also holding Ctrl or Command on Mac. So now I click on it, click once, I'm creating one cell, another cell, another cell. So I can create a chain of cells like this. And now I can go here and I can write some content. For example, okay, Einstein's ladder was about the construction of atomic bombs. So then it was constructed in Los Alamos. And then the first atomic bomb was constructed and tested, or let's say finished and tested. And then it was used twice. So it was used in Hiroshima, and then later it was also thrown on Nagasaki, which actually was not the original target. The original target of the atomic bomb was Fukuoka, which was an important military base nearby, but because of bad weather conditions, they had to use the secondary target Nagasaki. And this is the origin of saying in Japan that being as lucky as Nagasaki. Yeah, so, and by the way, let me switch it here. So say Hiroshima is, there's the atomic bomb which was created remained during the explosion. So we can connect it like this. The another mode of connection is creating stars, where you want to create a lot of connections originating from one cell. So I'm doing this by, again, pointing at the connection button. Now I'm holding Shift, click on it, and then click once, twice, and so on. And each click will create me a new connected cell like this. And I can also combine these two modes. So if I now switch to Control, I can create a chain connected like this. So I can create a lot of connected cells at the same time. And of course, these shortcuts also work when, say, you will drag the style button to create blue cells. So again, I can hold Shift and drag a lot of them. I can hold Control, drag a chain here. And also, when I select multiple cells, like this, I can create connections from all of them. And when I will hold Shift, I can create multiple cells connected to all of them, like this. We can showcase this on a beautiful mathematical puzzle of houses and wells. Let me drag two pictures into OrgPad. Okay, so right now I have a picture of a house and picture of a well. And as you can see here, these are images, but if I actually open them, you can see that these are cells which do not have any title and they only contain an image. And if you place them like this and the image is transparent, it is directly inserted into the gray canvas. So there is no cell visible here, there are no cell boundaries, it's just the image inserted directly. And with this you can create a lot of beautiful graphics and you can insert it directly into OrgPad and make it look more beautiful. And by the way, if you have some image which has background, you can easily use some tools which will remove the background for you. Your smartphone can probably do that, or you can use some web application. For example, my favorite web application for removing background is remove.bg. So you just upload your image there, it will remove the background for you, and then you can insert it into OrgPad. Okay, so I have these houses, so let me make them a little bit smaller. So let's resize this. I can either write something here like 200, or I can also hold Control or Command on Mac and drag it to make it smaller or bigger. So let's make it like this, and let's resize the well as well. So let's say 166.8. It's good. Okay, so now we have a picture of a house and a picture of a well. Let's select these two pictures and let's copy them. So we have 3 houses and 3 wells. The puzzle states that we have these 3 houses, and each of the 3 houses is connected to each of the wells. So we can create the connections here. So I will click on this. Now I am holding Shift. I will do the first connection, another connection, and another connection. So overall, we have 9 connections here, 9 paths. And the problem is whether we can arrange the houses and the wells in such a way that none of the paths is crossing. So right now we have a lot of crossing. One crossing is here, here, and so on. So can we rearrange this picture in such a way that all the crossings are eliminated? And if you are not familiar with this puzzle, you can pause this video and think about it for a while. Or you can even find this document in the video description. You can open it in OrgPad, and if you have an account, you can just copy it. You can create a copy of this document, your own copy, and then you can play with this arrangement and try to find a way how to avoid all the crossings. So let's wait. 3, 2, 1. And now I will reveal the solution for you. So we can play around a little bit. Let's say we can move this house to avoid some of the crossings. And then, okay, so what we can do, we can say if we will put it like this, we will eliminate a lot of crossings. Yeah, but there is still this one, so maybe you can rearrange the well somehow. Let's move it like this. Yeah, there is still this crossing. Can we do something about it? It actually turns out that the problem is impossible. There always has to be at least one crossing. And this is a well-known math result. And we can actually see the reason why this is true. Let me make a copy of this. So let's make a copy. And suppose that we will delete this house for a while. So when you have just 2 houses and 3 wells, of course you can organize it in the way that there are no crossings. And actually always they have to be organized in this way. That you have a house, then you have well, you have the other house, you have another well, and then you go back. And the last well has to be in between. Like it could be outside like this, but then this well would be inside. So there's always one well which is inside and the 2 other wells are on the outside. But if we copy the last house, so right now we have the last house which is currently not connected to any of the wells. And if I place it here, sure, I can connect it with this, and I can make the connection connecting in with this, but I can't add the last connection because this would create a crossing here. And if I move it around, for instance, if I put it here, I could connect it to these 2 wells, but I can't connect it to the last one. So no matter where the house is placed, it will always create at least one crossing with one of the 3 wells. And this is a proof that it is not possible. Another way how this can be done is using Euler's theorem, which gives a relation between the number of vertices, edges, and faces in a polytope. And if you're interested in this, maybe I could create a separate video showcasing this and giving more details. And as you can see, OrgPad is a really great tool for doing experiments like this and playing with stuff. And so it's really useful when you have some problem like this and you want to sort the things out. So now let's discuss recoloring of cells and tricks how we can copy colors between cells and between the default styles and existing cells and so on. So let's return to our document about Japan. I have cleaned it up a little bit since we have created a lot of mess a while ago. When we released OrgPad several years ago, people were often confused how they should create new nodes. This is the reason why we added a message that you can create a node by double-clicking the gray canvas. But before the message was there, people often asked and they were even trying various things. And in the corner, there is this button for switching or choosing the default style. Since it looks like a cell, people were often trying to drag it out to create a new cell. And when we heard this, we were thinking, oh wow, this actually doesn't sound like a bad idea, so why not add it? It doesn't cost us that much, so let's add the option, and if someone wants to create cells in this way, they can. So if you take this button and you drag it out, it will create a new cell of the current color, exactly as if you double-click the gray canvas. And also when we have this function now, when you point at an existing cell, it actually gets recolored. So you can change colors of cells like this. And this is especially useful if you are working on your mobile phone. Further, when I'm holding Shift, I can create multiple cells of this color, or I can recolor multiple cells like this. So this is quite convenient in a lot of situations. Another option is to copy. So right now I'm creating pink cells. but it might happen that instead I want to create cells of some existing color. For example, I might be using different colors of cells for different types of cells, and I'm mixing these colors a lot. So what you can do is you can hold Alt or Option on Mac, and then you can drag. So now I'm holding the left mouse button and I'm dragging out, and it will create me a new cell of this color. So it will copy the color, it will also copy the title size. So right now I have normal size, and if I go and I will out drag this is a big size. And also, when I will drag it out to an existing cell, it will change its color. So right now this is red, and right now this is orange. Red again, and orange again. Yeah, so this is not changing the size of the text. Further, you can combine this with Shift, but you have to start the dragging out. Otherwise, you would be removing a rectangle. So right now, I am holding Alt. Now I add Shift to it. And now I can create multiple copies, or I can recolor multiple cells. Let's go back to the cells we just made pink, and suppose that we want to recolor them back to yellow. So one way is to go here and change the color to yellow, and then I could continue like this, but this is a little bit tedious. And I could of course select all of them and change the color at the same time, but we can also copy it between the current color and the default color. So if I go here and I point at the style button, now I hold Ctrl and click on this, or Command on Mac. This style gets copied to the current style. Now when I go to this book fight unit, I go on its style and hold Shift and click on it, it will get recolored for me. It is also changing the title size, so let me set it back. Let's hold Shift now, copy it here, and copy it here. So you can basically transfer between the current style and the default style back and forth as you want. Let's conclude this video by talking about links. So when I have some link like this one, I can modify it by pointing at it, then this wheel appears there. I can click on it and it will display me a selection of a few options. I can change the color, say to green here. I can flip the direction of the arrow, invisible, so I can flip it back and forth. This works similarly as in the case of selection. I can erase the link, like this. So let's return it back. Let's say now I would like to add some label. Let's say I want to add a label on this link that in Atomic Bomb Museum the Einstein's letter is visible. And so one way I could do it, I can create a link. So the letter is found in here. Then I could, okay, go create connection like this. Now maybe I want this to be red. Okay, I will set it manually. And then I can delete this old connection. But this is super tedious. We can do it better. Let's delete this and let's return the original connection there. So I can click on this and then use this green button to create a new cell in the middle. So it will create me a new cell. I can write found in, and let's say I will change the style to, let's say, small yellow. And now I have my label. So in OrgPad there is no direct support for labels. People often write to us and ask how they can insert labels. And we actually never found a reason to put it in, since you can easily create cells and place them in the middle of connections. And if you use a different style for it, it looks quite nice. And so you have the full flexibility just with cells. You don't need special labels for connections. And this is even more powerful because, for example, you might find that in the future you would also want to write some explanation here, maybe add some pictures and some other information. Maybe it will grow into another cell. Sort of, you are free to do it in this form. Also, this cell can be connected to other nodes. So for example, it might happen that this connection is actually not between two things, but it's between 3 or more. And the form that it is just another cell is super easy to do this. If it would be specific connection, it wouldn't work. And this is the way how we build OrgPad, that we really try to make it as simple as possible. We don't want to add many features which we deem unnecessary, because they would make the tool more complicated and then it would be worse for using. We want to really optimize and maximize your focus so you can focus on your own problems and you don't have to think about OrgPad and fight OrgPad. And this is one of our design goals. Okay, so we have seen a lot of tricks and you don't have to feel overwhelmed. It's perfectly fine if you will just remember and use a few of them, the ones you find the most convenient. We also personally use just a small subset of these tricks. And even when we are preparing this video, we had to go through the details and test it out to see how some of the things we don't use frequently work precisely. And further, me and my wife are using different tricks and find different things convenient. So thanks a lot for watching and see you at next tutorials.